We're winding down the afternoon here with the Yukon Mining Alliance at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. Happy to welcome in Scott Sheldon here. He's the president of Flow Metals Corp. They trade on the CSE with the symbol FWM. Scott, good to see you once again.
Yeah, for sure. Good to see you.
Yeah, let's get kind of an introduction to Flow right now. Talk about the projects and really what you're undertaking.
All right, sounds good. Actually, the last time we saw each other was up in Dawson City. It was a couple years ago. And in fact, that's where our property is. It's about an hour and a half drive west from Dawson City. Actually have to cross the ferry, but it's in the Sixtymile plaster district. And that's kind of a continuation of the Klondike. It's just about an hour and a half away. But our property is pretty neat. It's in the district that was actually discovered right before the Klondike gold rush took off. So it's been around for a while. So there's obviously been a lot of work done. The district itself has seen about just over 500,000 ounces pulled out in placer. So we're there looking for the source of all that placer. And they have these nice big chunky gold nuggets too that they're pulling out of the ground. It's a neat project. We have 4 placer creeks and 3 active placer mines on our property. So we've got lots of smoke. We're just looking for the source of all that.
Yeah, walk me through. These are always interesting stories to me with the historic placer mining operations, but looking for the source. Walk me through like exactly how you're approaching this. What are you looking for from the placer to the bedrock?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And they've been trying to do it for a while. So
right.
There's been 3 main programs since we've taken over the project. The most recent was back in 2010 and 2011. It was run by the gold group, like Radius and Rackala Gold. And so they were basically targeting right near Miller Creek, which is one of the more famous creeks in the area. And they basically looked at the top pay streaks and kind of went up the hill from there just to see where the valley had eroded away. And they started following a thrust fault system that basically runs all the way across the property. So that was kind of their indication. That might have been an orogenic source for all the gold. But you go up there and there's a lot of kind of lore with the placer miners. They keep their cards pretty close to the chest, but the guys that run the placer mines on our project, they're investors in our project as well. So they've been pretty good sharing their knowledge. So part of it is kind of tapping their knowledge and their experience with all the work that they've done there as well.
What's been some of your the early exploration work results? What have you been seeing?
So we basically tried to put together all the info from the last 2 projects in 2010, 2011. The project itself was basically left kind of on the wayside as that was right at the downturn. So it was basically repackaged by Roger Holstein and 2 of the placer miners, and they put together this thrust fault zone package. So we've kind of gone through a bunch of the old data, trying to digitize some of it, and we ended up running a RAB program last year, basically trying to confirm some of the workings that we come through with all this historical data. So we had some decent hits with the RAB. RAB's obviously pretty shallow, so it doesn't give you the best depth coverage, but we like what we saw, so we want to go back with an RC and do some trenching as well. Having placer mining on the property, there's a lot of heavy machinery there, so it makes trenching is really easy, really cost-effective, road accessible project. So yeah, there's a lot of work we can do.
So when will you be back on the project, and really what's the program look like for this season?
So we have a zone it's about 3 kilometers along strike. We've got some pretty good soil samples on surface, and we've confirmed it with some of the drilling. So it looks like we have 5 horizons that kind of continue along here. And they basically span in between Miller Creek. So the idea is to go test kind of maybe with some trenching across so we can get a better idea of the width. And then obviously to go in there with an RC. What we've done is we've figured out the best orientation to attack this with as well, so that we're hitting multiple veins on the way down, so that we get a better idea of grade.
Okay. So will you be drilling this year?
We'd like to. We're not funded to drill yet. We're fully permitted to drill, but we're gonna need some funding before we drill.
You go to the market here pretty soon?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When do you think that might come into play here?
In terms of financing?
Yeah.
Well, we're in the right spot right here, so there's lots of interest. So
Maybe this week?
yeah, that's right. But we're optimistic, and we like the project, so we'll see what we can do.
Last time I met you, you were kind of in the base metals battery space. This is more precious metals here. Talk about that transition from one to the other here, and really what made you make a jump into gold.
So this was actually the property from the battery metals company. And when that company went battery metals, this one was spun out into its own company. So Flow Metals itself has only been around for about a year and a half. It listed on the CSE under FWM. And so this was kind of a way to focus entirely on gold. We liked the project at Sixtymile. It also has a project in BC, in New Brenda. But yeah, no, totally different projects. We love the Yukon though. It's a great spot to work. Great mining incentives. We've got a YMEP grant for this year, so that gives us another $40,000 to put towards exploration. And yeah, then there's being close to Dawson City as well. It's even just for visiting, it's a great town, but there's a lot of resources there as well for mining.
Talk about the collective community of this type of project. And I was thinking, we talked to Peter Tallman earlier this morning. Similar type of, taking old placer operations, looking for the feeder zone type of exploration here. But I'm just kind of curious, people who work and operate in the Yukon all know each other. It's usually pretty tight-knit type of community. How do you two, or some people with similar exploration work, kind of help each other out in really trying to understand what's going to kind of crack the code?
Mm-hmm. No, Peter is one of the guys who's been very helpful. He's even a lot of the talks he does, but even if you just approach him as a person, he's more than happy to share the information that they've seen. Sean Ryan, the whole industry up in the Yukon is generally a pretty friendly group. So we've been really happy working there for the past 10 years now.
So what do you need moving forward? I mean, other than money to go drill, what is something you want to see here in this session that really can show you and investors that you can, what does success kind of, how is that defined for you?
Yeah, no, good question. So if you look at the battery metal space, it's been really easy to raise money. For gold, it's been a bit of a slug for the last year and a half. We listed at the kind of peak of the last market. We were lucky enough to raise close to $1 million at that point, and we've been very frugal with our money. We've made it last through 2 programs in the Yukon and 2 programs in BC, and we're very low overhead company, so we're comfortable living in this kind of environment. But ideally, we want to raise. So, seeing a pretty good crowd here, and seeing hopefully interest coming back into gold. I'm sure you hear this a lot with inflation and all that. Then it's got to be going somewhere. So once that starts to kick in, then the gold market can be a fun place to be.
Turns out inflation wasn't so transitory.
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully we see some more buying coming into gold and the junior mining sector. Scott, thank you so much for the update. Best of luck this season, and we look forward to seeing the news coming out of Flow Metals.
Cheers, thanks.
That's Scott Sheldon, president of Flow Metals, again trading on the CSE with the symbol FWM.